Bitcoin, please go to moon.
Just hit $15,000. As we end 2020, we are watching the major surge upwards. So today, I want to answer the question, is it too late to buy Bitcoin? Even though we've had all of 2020 to accumulate, to invest, if you are waiting to buy Bitcoin, whether we close above 15K or not, watch the whole video.
For Bitcoin to establish a new base for us, that, just that area to push higher for prices with a good, just solid, lots of support in there, lots of buying pressure moving up. That would be good to see. And look, $20,000, it's obviously just the start for Bitcoin. It's going to be a very nice moment. We'll pop open some champagne or something here on the show. But if things play out as expected, then Bitcoin has a very good chance of reaching $100,000 in 2021.
Money just reached the next level, and these companies don't want it to be game over for them in the payment sector. But this is not limited to the payment sector only. Just last Friday, legendary investor and mutual fund master Bill Miller was on CNBC's Squawk Box, and he was focusing on the fact that Bitcoin is getting stronger and stronger each day. He said this: the Bitcoin story is very easy. It's supply and demand. Bitcoin supply is growing at around 2.5% a year, and the demand is growing faster than that, and there's going to be a fixed number of them. He then exclaimed, I think every major bank, every major investment bank, every major high net worth firm is going to eventually have some exposure to Bitcoin or what's like it. Corporate bank game theory is going to come into play, and Miller knows it. October 20th, CoinDesk put out this article titled, Signature Bank Gains 1 billion deposits in quarter 3, with notable growth from stablecoin issuers.
Bitcoin can go 10x from its current price if November breaks its monthly all-time high close. That's right, the king of all crypto can surge by up to 1,000% and reach $170,000 per Bitcoin if it closes November's monthly candle at or above $13,880 based on historic performance. As Josh Rager points out right here, every time Bitcoin has closed above the previous monthly all-time high, a 700 to 1,000% uptrend has followed. November could be the first monthly close that we see breaking the previous high, and historically, that's been a very bullish sign for the crypto market. And with Bitcoin currently trading above 15,000, it looks very likely that this month of November will close at a monthly high. Also in today's episode, breaking news, billionaire investor Stanley Druckenmiller says he owns Bitcoin and believes the top crypto asset has more upside potential than gold. That's right, in this new interview with CNBC, he goes on to share, I'm a bit of a dinosaur, but I've warmed up to the fact that Bitcoin could be an asset class that has a lot of attraction as a store of value, says legendary investor Stanley Druckenmiller to Kelly's CNBC. Also, Raoul Pal points out the significance of the world's greatest and most respected money manager, says just now that he is long Bitcoin cannot be overstated. That has removed every obstacle for any hedge fund or endowment to invest. Hashtag Bitcoin. Also in today's episode, can an $18,000 Bitcoin price be next? Well, the Bitcoin market cap may pass Canada's monetary base. That's right, check this out. As Bitcoin blasted through the 14,000 level, its market cap has surpassed the monetary base of the Russian ruble. This measure includes both physical currency and bank reserves, both of which are usually held by a country's central banks, and it looks like the Canadian dollar is next.
On a seemingly weekly basis right now, we are seeing major news break like PayPal adopting Bitcoin, corporate cash allocations like Twitter, or some institution like Grayscale ramping up their buying. This week's news being Iran's central bank adopting Bitcoin to pay for imports in an effort to avoid trade sanctions. The Islamic Republic has become the first country in the world to adopt Bitcoin at a state level for value exchange. As major a news event as this is, I actually don't think it's a good look for Bitcoin in all honesty, but I don't think Iran is going to be the last country to do this either. Who knows? Maybe there's more countries doing it right now. Russia, North Korea, China perhaps? Why? What is happening is perceived by some at least to be a huge deal. Now, in case you're not familiar with the terminology, risk-on situations typically see investors take more risks because confidence in the market is strong. In risk-off situations, like the 2008 financial crisis or, now, investors attempt to sell off their riskier positions in favor of no risk or low risk positions like gold and treasury bonds. But there's a big problem right now. Gold isn't rising. US Treasury bonds are actually falling. There is literally nowhere safe to run in traditional finance right now.
Going through the minds of the markets as we head into this Friday.
Yes, please explain.
So I would say I understand why you're upset. You've had the worst week since March. You've had a second month of losses. And you know what? Your bonds have sold off as well this month. So this is a tough time. The investors will feel they're getting hit from all sides, and even your favorite names are nursing big losses. So I understand why you're upset. I understand why you're hurting. You need to understand why this is happening,
Yes.
and you need to maneuver accordingly.
All right, I love political speech.
Dr. Alarian,
When he says you need to adjust, what he actually means is there's no real adjusting here. There's no safe option. Historically safe options, like bonds, are failing.
what about bonds? Can you give us that roadmap for treasuries?
And that's the irony, that in a month in which stocks have gone down and people had 60-40 or 70-30, 70 stocks, 30 bond, they look to that bond allocation and say, well, that at least made me money in a world in which risky assets went down. Surely risk-free assets went up. And the answer is they did not. They also lost money. And it tells you that we are coming to the point where bonds have been so distorted by central bank action that they no longer behave in the way investors want them to behave. So the only risk mitigator in this world today is cash.
This blows my mind. This absolutely blows my mind. We are right now in a situation where literally the safest option from an economist's point of view is cash. Cash. The thing that has seen near 50% more of it in circulation in the last 4 years alone in the US and is set to rise much, much higher. Cash. I feel like Soldier Boy right now when someone mentions Drake to him.
Today we'll be discussing the insane pump of Bitcoin right now. It's absolutely mind-blowing, and you have to understand that there is no resistance until 20k. We might literally go to 20k this month, if not next month, but you have to understand it's very soon. I do think that this is gonna be sooner than most people expect. We've been previously speaking about 13.8 level as being the most important resistance level, and if we go above 13.8, we're basically entering stratosphere. And I think now we have confirmed that, because you know, we've had so many days where we pumped above and then below, pumped above, below, above, below. Here we pumped above, below, we were here back and forth, but still we closed above. And then yesterday, we were a bit below, a bit above, but we closed very strongly above. And today we're just continuing to pump above, above, and above. That being said, there are a few dangers that you need to know about. Although I think from a risk-reward perspective, Bitcoin is so amazingly cheap right now. From a risk-reward perspective. That being said, there are some bearish signs as well. But another thing you have to look at is the fact that we've never been this high in price since the January of 2018. How insane is that? It's absolutely insane. Basically, this is a 3-year high that we're printing for Bitcoin. And the thing with Bitcoin is that once it really starts going, it will start printing rogue waves, rogue green waves.
Anyway, let's go ahead and get started. One of the first things I want to show you guys on Glassnode is the number of new addresses per week on Bitcoin. As you can see, we're at a bit of a high right now. 3.3 million new Bitcoin addresses coming in every single week. We've only ever beat that one time with around 4.5 million addresses in 1 week back at the very end of the 2017 bull market. But guys, understand, Bitcoin is trading at a stupidly high price right now, and the fact that we are sitting at 3.3 million new addresses week after week after week after week. I mean, guys, we've been up here for months since June. This is an incredibly good sign for Bitcoin. It means that not only are the people in cryptocurrency making new addresses, it also demands that there are new people coming into Bitcoin. Here's another really simple one, guys, I want to show you. As you can see, Bitcoin's hash rate has moonshot, especially ever since the previous halving. At the previous all-time high, Bitcoin's hash rate was 13.8 exahash. Right now, it's over 10 times that high at 145 exahash. Another great sign for Bitcoin is the exchange balance for Bitcoin. As you guys can see, ever since February of this year, the amount of Bitcoin on exchanges has been going down. And you might think to yourself, Jebb,
CBDCs, centralized bank digital currencies. Now, should we care that the U.S. is falling behind? I think the U.S. has a master plan, okay? Now we're going to go back. I want to show you how things are controlled. Because gold, okay, when the price goes up, they find more, okay, to meet the demand and take advantage of the higher prices, whether it's new technology or working harder or whatever, okay? The same way, okay, so that's what holds the price of gold relatively down, all right? We don't know how much is really in the ground. I don't care what anybody says. So gold is kind of useless in this instance, the scenario I'm painting for you, for at least $1 million Bitcoin. I'm not a Bitcoin maximalist. I prefer to short. I trade, I short. So far, we got the U.S. back by nothing, and possibly all the gold is gone. Okay, now, countries all around the world are beginning to roll out cryptocurrencies, okay, as their dollar. The Bahamas legitimately just rolled out the sand dollar, okay? Ecuador, China, Senegal, Singapore, the list goes on and on, are looking to launch their own national cryptocurrencies. China's a big one. You got to watch out for this.
They were a market-controlling BTC whale, but because they were in the laugh at you stage, they thought it was hilarious people would pay even $50 million for these magic internet money tokens. Well, look who's laughing now. That is why we are right in the midst of the fight you stage. They got embarrassed, and now it's time for them to accumulate the scraps of what is left. Why do you think just last week the Justice Department seized $1 billion worth of Bitcoin tied to the Silk Road? They had finally caught a hacker who had moved nearly 70,000 stolen BTC over 7 years ago. It's a mystery individual, as we can see from the filing. They are dubbing Individual X, and only the government knows their identity. Obviously, the government just became a large BTC whale, once again, getting close to half of what they auctioned off stupidly in 2014 and 2015. It's the government's secret black hole of Bitcoin that has been ramping up since 2018. Fortune magazine covered it then in an article titled "Inside Uncle Sam's Secret Bitcoin Hoard." And they say regarding the seizures and forfeitures by the government, but the transparency is fleeting. There are often long lag times between the date of seizure and its appearance in a report, and reports aren't archived online. Each day when a new one appears, the old one goes away. Paper copies exist, but nowhere online or on paper is there a tally of the cryptocurrency in federal custody at any given time. It continues. In theory, any Bitcoin in federal hands can be traced because cryptocurrency transactions are inscribed forever on a public blockchain ledger. But while Justice Department's documents sometimes publicly identify secure government wallets, many criminal cases do not, making it unclear where the Bitcoin went. Seen in that light, discrepancies and gaps in the public record take on troubling overtones. In tracing a sample of Bitcoins from court records and forfeiture notices, Fortune turned up several instances of coins whose seizure was documented but whose sale was not. They're accumulating just like you and I, letting a few slip through into their black hole, but the thing is they don't gotta pay, they just seize. And since there are a lot of dumb criminals in the Bitcoin and crypto space, the US government will have a never-ending funnel of free BTC which they auction off to those who know what to do just to take it down.